of a truth they cannot attain. Neon lights and coded lies try to keep us hypnotized, but the field begins to tear, and we're breaking out of their snare. Reality is bending, the truth is descending. We're tearing through the great disguise, seeing past the grand illusion, breaking free from all their lies. Welcome to the matrix of minds. We see through the shadows, leave the lies behind, breaking the fabric of reality's hold. We're the matrix minds, brave and bold. In the digital storm we stand tall, unveiling secrets they can't hide. The power crumbles, we watch it fall, as we tear through their divide. Electric whispers in the night try to keep us from the light, but our spirits won't be chained through the chaos we've reclaimed. Reality is bending, the truth is descending. We're tearing through the great disguise.
Oh yeah, Brainiacs, what is up? Welcome to the Matrix once again, and it is a Friday night interview, and you guys know that guy. I'm pretty sure y'all know him. This is Mr. Jesse Beltran. He is the feller that we know that started the Mind Nexus Conference live. Well, we're going to get into what exactly he does, why he does it, what triggered him to do it, for those of you that don't know who he is. But nevertheless, Jesse's been with me, I think, 3 times. This will be the 3rd time he's been on the Matrix. We have a bit used him and abused him and passed him in our little circle here. But Jesse here is making quite the wave himself when trying to, let's just say, uncover the hidden truths. Because what we're going to discuss tonight is exactly a hidden truth. It is weaponized warfare at a astronomical level, down to the molecule and beyond. We're talking frequency level manipulation, control factors. I'm also discuss with Jess here a little bit later, after he discusses some things about the possibility, okay, of these past shootings, right? These past shootings that we've seen, from Charlie to the little girl on the train to all of them, right? Shoot, I'm talking like, we're even going to go, I'll even jump into the Vegas shooting with Jesse. Because these people, the average human being, the normal human being, you just wouldn't just out of the blue up and jump up on a train and just stab somebody with a knife. What the hell just went through that guy's mind, right? Well, we're going to talk to Jesse. He and I both are some critical thinkers. He and I both are also into hypnotherapy, love the psychosis of the mind. So again, on the other side of the broadcast, we're going to be with Mr. Jesse Beltran, and we're going to talk about the hidden war, frequencies, freedom, and our future. Share this broadcast, Brainiacs. Share this podcast. And on the other side, Mr. Jesse Beltran. Don't go anywhere, Brainiacs. We're going to dive deep right now.
What do you say, Brainiacs? You guys ready? It's time. It's showtime, brains. That's right. It's Matrix time. And it's go time. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let's go. Talk about ufology, conspiracy, controversy, and anything and everything that we can get into tonight. Let's go. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Get
Yeah.
It's definitely your show. Your show, and we appreciate you for being here. Buckle up, everybody. Welcome aboard.
Yeah, Brainiacs. Welcome aboard. Mr. Jesse Beltran is below me, looking really good. What up, Mr. Jesse? Welcome aboard again.
How's it going, Matt?
I'm good.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be on your show.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to actually get you here with no problem.
That seems to be a common theme that follows me everywhere these days.
Yeah.
I had him take over my my camera the other day. They took over my mic the other day, just like that suddenly happened to you a little while ago.
Are you right?
But that's commonplace, it seems like, when you're over the target.
Oh, well, let me, something just for those onlookers, all of the ABCs. Some of them, as long as you're not against me or Jesse, much love to you. But those of you that know about the problem, that do nothing about the problem, you've now became the problem. Just wanted to clear that up. Jesse, let's get an update, bro, because here's the thing. You've been here on my show. I've also known that, what I meant by passing you back and forth in our little circle here is you are friends with Penny Shepard and my buddy
Shepard, yes.
David Zublik. I know them guys really well. We share guests back and forth, but it's been a minute for you being here with these guys over here. So a lot's been. I think I haven't had you on the broadcast for about almost a year. Is that almost a year? Right?
Yeah, and then I visit Penny and David every 2 weeks out of the broadcast in Chicago.
Right.
So I'm on there normally. Yeah.
So what's been going on? What's been going on with you?
Wow, so much, my friend. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jesse Beltran. I'm currently the president of an organization called Cosmic Clarity Connections, and Mind Nexus Live is our brand. I'm a retired firefighter paramedic out of Sacramento, California, and the Sacramento City Fire Department. Helped them establish that paramedic transportation program there. I was the former president of an organization called the International Center Against the Abuse of Covert Technologies. And the reason that came into fruition was because a gentleman by the name of Dr. John Hall out of Austin, Texas, who's the author of 2 books, A New Breed: Satellite Terrorism in America, and Guinea Pigs: Technologies of Control, in which he writes a chapter there about my efforts and my work around the United States. Basically, a phenomenon called Havana Syndrome, AHIs, however you want to call it. The Department of Homeland Security held a hearing with a gentleman by the name of Colonel Greg Egren, who testified that this phenomenon is happening on our homeland right now. And basically, it's an attack not only on our diplomats, but the best of our best in the FBI, CIA, and now congressional members. They claim this is only happening to federal employees. But myself, Dr. Hall, and others have been following this topic since 2010, in which American citizens have been complaining about the same symptoms. The only difference is we were doing radio frequency testing to see whether or not anomalous frequencies were coming around specific focal areas around their body. Ultimately, it led us to Europe, in which we were in a research facility in what's called an anechoic chamber. And we were able to conclusively determine that for whatever reason, these frequencies were emitting out of the human body. We had control groups where we were not detecting anything. We were getting absolute zero. But when we brought in those who we tested in the field in their preliminary RF testing, we were able to detect those frequencies in that anechoic chamber. And it was designed to block out frequency spectrums between 8 kilohertz and 19 gigahertz. So we knew it was well within the spectrum that we needed. Ultimately, what happened from there is we dug a little deeper into investigate why these frequencies were coming from the human person. And we have had successful surgeries in which Uh, Biosensors, RFID implants have been surgically removed from individuals who have been complaining about the exact same symptoms that our diplomats or FBI agents, CIA agents, and congressional members have been complaining about. The the head doctor of a three-letter agency, which I promised never to share his name, called me, contacted me, and said, "Jess, you and Dr. Hall kind of Renaissance men. The reason I'm calling you is because you're absolutely right. 338 Havana syndrome patients that he's seeing and the clients that we were seeing, he said there's significant overlap. And what he meant by that is the symptoms were identical. The only difference was, he said to me, is that you're surgically removing implants that are approaching very, very small size, in the micron size. But now we're dealing with something that's far more sinister than that. But anyway, what it told us is we were on target, because there really was no reason for someone of this caliber to contact me. This firefighter paramedic out of Sacramento, California, who just started a grassroots effort to prove that these people weren't crazy. And that was the ultimate agenda. Think about it. How many people out there have a family member or a friend or know someone who's been diagnosed with mental illness? What if it was synthetically induced mental illness? And this is what we're finding.
Well, Jess, we talk a lot about these things on this broadcast. So this specific topic, okay, this specific topic really isn't new to us. However, let me work with my mic here. Yeah, so this topic really isn't new to us. However, what's new to me and these guys is the fact that we've now got a connection. I'm talking you, Mikey, Des, that literally got your own thing that can scan these people, can target this frequency, and we can go from there. Right? So this is the
You're
update.
absolutely correct.
We've now stepped into a ring where it is literally us against them. And we're finding, okay, again, I off broadcast here, I've talked with you, I've talked with Mikey, I've talked with Des about these things, and this has been needed just for quite some time, bro. Okay, it's just recently that it's becoming more well known. Okay, and it goes right along with whatever all of the conspiracy tinfoil hat wearers are saying, and it would be nanobot self-assembling technology. Now let's talk about that, because the first, I know this is your interview, but the first guy that ever got me even truly thinking about this was a guy who came to me right after it was crazy, but I literally just got done talking to Robert Duncan about the technology that he was working on. Okay, I'm talking prior to leaving DoD, going to DARPA, working with DARPA, and then saying, you know what, I can't do this to my people, and then going out talking to other people. But do you know a fellow by the name of Lynn Burr?
Lynn Bear, yeah. Yes, I am familiar with Lynn.
Okay, he is the one that put all of this stuff on my radar. Okay, because I was talking with Robert about these things, and he was interested in my work with. Look, we were talking about nodal points. Okay, you and me, we are living, walking energy transmitters and receivers. That's what we are. We are interject nodes. Now, taking that a step further, that's how I think that's even how Robert got involved with me and being involved with Robert. But just remember, bro, this is all of this stuff. We're just conspiracy theories, bro. It's all just woo-woo shit.
Yeah, not anymore. We pulled out the smoking guns. We pulled out the bullets. And that has been the agenda all along, so that we can basically bring truth to those individuals who have been suffering from this 365 days a year, and being tortured 24/7. And we've always been of the mindset that let's talk about the Havana syndrome just briefly.
Okay.
They all talk about some frequency emission that they're hearing and being transmitted to them. Well, Dr. Hall back in 2010 said, well, if that is true when he was seeing those individuals, then we should be able to detect it somehow. So that's when he started using what is called the JM20 Pro general frequency detector. And that's how he was getting positive results with that. And it was always my belief that in order to receive that signal, there must be something internally or special with an individual who was hearing it. And it was always my hypothesis that it had to be something that was implanted in the human body. Now, in the 40s, we were using large grain of rice type RFID chips. They became smaller towards the 70s and 80s. In the mid 80s to 90s, they were down to single letter on a penny. And then when we got into 2005, it was not being disclosed to us. They've even made the technology smaller. There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Ido Bachelet. In 2013, he gave a TEDMed talk, and he held up a 1cc syringe. And at the tip of the needle, he brags that he just brought this from his lab. He says, at the tip of this needle is 1,000 billion robots, down to 50 nanometers in size, and they can carry payloads. They can be controlled and opened or closed with RF emissions, any RF frequency. What he also talks about is he taught his students, once they've been injected, in this case, they were putting them in cockroaches. They could control these nanorobots with a joystick and your game box.
You were talking about that. Yep.
Yep. And so, and this is no joke. You can look up the interview. It's about an hour and 20-minute talk. And it's Dr. Ido Bachelet, TEDMed talk, talks about nanorobots. All you have to do is just Google that on YouTube, and you'll be able to pull that up and listen to that. But nonetheless, here's the bigger problem. We are now dealing with something far more sinister. You're lucky if you have the larger tech in you that can be identified and surgically removed.
Right.
What the whole globe is dealing with now are these nanorobots that Dr. Ido Bachelet talks about. They're self-assembling, self-replicating. They can attach to your DNA. They cross the blood-brain barrier. And if you have had the vaccine, if you've had that jab, or you've taken the PCR test, in the hydrogel, all of this nanotech was in it. And we have the patents that we've shared with everyone, the delivery system through the swabs that they were having you stick way up into your superior dorsum, the membranes up there. And that was completely bypassing and just injecting this stuff right into your brain. And that's the reality of where we're at. So those who have the smaller tech now, regardless of it being nano size, which is 2,000 size, the width of a hair, it is still an implant.
Okay,
and
right.
It is being controlled and being self-assembled within your body by RF frequencies and emissions. I just gave a talk down in Southern California in front of Secretary RFK Jr.'s group, who was very close to him, and they asked me to come and do a presentation. Fortunately enough, it was being broadcasted to over 10 million people worldwide by Director Matthew Scow and Edward Szal, his producer. They're doing a documentary called Nano Sapiens right now. And it's all about this topic that we're talking about today. And why is it important to everyone is I demonstrated and I showed everyone declassified documents that specifically the New World Vistas report that was released in 1994. And it was the world's greatest minds in the military on how to keep the United States a superpower 50 years into the future. And on page 89 of that report is called Biological Processes. And what it discusses is the use of electromagnetic frequencies to manipulate human consciousness, your emotions, and be able to control human beings just through frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And now what we have is a situation where we are taking it a step further. It's in full implementation. We were duped during that transition where we were all on lockdown. How many people took that swab to test whether they had COVID? That was the Trojan horse in that hydrogel. And now this stuff is in the majority of the populations globally. So why should we be concerned? In that New World Business Reports, it talks about the whole goal was to imprint memory sets and erase memory sets. Okay. That was in 1994. But even sooner than that, in 1972, we got our hands on a document that talked about how they were experimenting in our prisons on prisoners and the mental health institutions. And in that document, it says even by then, they were able to remotely assess your heart rate, your breathing rate, everything, including your thoughts via radio frequency.
Sure.
So now we're on what the MK Ultra program was done by Gottlieb and Ewan Cameron out of the Canadian psychiatrist, who was funded by the United States government to see whether or not you can erase the human brain and re-imprint it with new memories.
Stop there, because this is remotely. This is
Correct.
remotely.
All being done remotely. Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is on steroids. This is what he did was I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
There you are. Okay.
Okay, continue.
Okay. So what Ewan Cameron was doing was he would put helmets over people's heads. He would induce long-term sleep with drug therapy, shock therapy, and they would play tapes, recordings to those victims, and they would repeat themes over and over and over again. Now, Matthew, you will understand this, the law of repetition that we use in hypnosis. It is a process that will eventually allow the subconscious to absorb that and act upon it, okay? So he was doing psychic driving in its infancy there. Now with this nanotech, the ability to do psychic driving remotely is basically place psychic driving on steroids, and that's what we're dealing with. So what are the dangers of it? Depending on your suggestibility, and basically you can get individuals to do things they wouldn't normally do, and get them to do acts of aggression, of submission, no matter you name it, you can get them to do anything. And for example, I deal with people globally now who are suffering from what they call, back then it was electronic terrorism, electronic harassment. The names morphed into Havana syndrome in 2016. Now they call it anomalous health incidences. But basically, what it showed is that this is affecting everyday citizens, American citizens, and it's legal. And it's legal.
Wait, what?
Under the 20. It is absolutely legal. And I'll explain why. This is how we were all swindled. In 2016, President Obama instituted the 21st Century Cures Act. And that was sold to everyone that this is a good thing. This is going to help the opioid crisis that we're having in the United States. But what they snuck in under Section 3024 of the 21st Century Cures Act is a phrase. Section 3024 allows for, it is legal to experiment on U.S. citizens specifically outlined in there without their consent, as long as the experiment does not exceed normal risk. So what's normal risk? By definition, normal risk is anything that doesn't happen in normal everyday life. So what doesn't happen in normal everyday life? I ask this question. Does death happen in normal everyday life? So does that make it okay that you do experiments that are killing people? I can tell you we have documented cases, 24 cases to this day, of people who have committed suicide because of this. Okay? The other problem with the 21st Century Cures Act is that any of these IRBs or these institutions who are doing research are protected by national security protocols. So this means that even if you did a FOIA request to inquire whether or not you're on an IRB or request the data from that IRB, they can't. It's all classified. Now in 2024, before the transition into the Trump administration, the Biden administration codified Section 3024 to extend it to private enterprises, to include military subcontractors, research institutions, anyone doing work for the federal government. They now have those same protections. And our fight is to awaken everyone, to show them that this does exist, because no one believes me when I say it. But when I show them the section, they're dumbfounded. They're saying, how can this be legal?
Mm-hmm.
It is. And so we have a URL right now called stops3024.com. And we're asking everyone to support this so that our goal is to obtain 1 million signatures so that we can have some teeth when we start talking to, hopefully, talking to those individuals who might be able to sway that pendulum a little bit. The first objective is to remove that section so that we can start obtaining the data for those who have the nanotech in them. Those who have the larger tech, they're great. We can get the surgeries done. But those who have the nanotech, you're in serious peril. Because remember, the goal has been, they are by frequency emission. They can imprint memory sets and erase memory sets.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company called Cognify, Cognify. And if you Google their video, it's titled The Future of Incarceration. And if you commit a crime in the future, now remember, they can read your thoughts. So there is going to be a point in time, and I do know of one case where he was put in prison for 5 years for a thought crime.
Did you say a thought crime?
A thought crime.
Bro.
A thought crime.
And by the way, shout out to Desi. She just dropped that link, and I'm going to put that link down right there beside you. But okay, keep going.
Yeah. So what Cognify is going to do, it is basically, if you commit a crime, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you hurt someone or something, you know, that's legitimate. If you do it just to be spiteful, vengeful, whatever it may be, whatever that reason is, you commit a crime and you're guilty of it. So you will then have an option. Your option is, normally today, maybe you'll get 5 to 10 years for it. But what they want to do is give you like 100 years, or you can choose a 3-minute Cognify session, which will erase your memory sets and imprint new memory sets so that you can experience the pain that you did to your victims, the emotional trauma that you caused them, their family members, anyone involved. You will be able to have immediate empathy and remorse.
Damn, bro.
You will also believe that you've been incarcerated for 20, 30 years, but only 3 minutes would have passed by. Not only are they planning on doing this, but they also bring in your family members into therapy to help them assimilate you with your new memory sets. Okay.
Let me tell you
I don't
something.
know about
Let me
you.
Let me share something. Prior to those that know me will absolutely probably say, "Oh my God." But look, if something like that happened to me, I would not just be subjective to this. I would probably be the assassin. I'm telling you right now, I would lose my shit.
Yeah,
I would.
This is the real deal.
They would remove me from your simulation. Matthew would no longer exist, bro, because.
Yeah. So that's how serious this is, and we have been on the warpath. We've been out there. Our goal is not to be talking to people who are in this phenomena or know people in phenomena. Our goal has been to educate normies, and by doing that, we're creating such a movement of support. Now, where it would take 8 to 15 years to gather the evidence for these victims, we now have a process in place because we have doctors who are willing to work with us.
Good.
After we do the RF scans, nonlinear junction scans, we get The doctors will now take our referrals. They'll do high resolution ultrasounds to identify any foreign bodies that they exist, and then refer you to a surgeon. We've never before had that. What it's done is basically take that evidence gathering journey from these long tenures, from 10 to 15 years, down to 1 year. And that's huge for us. And so that's what we're out campaigning about. The other agenda is, what do we do about the nanotech? How do we tackle that? And Matthew, I think you're spot on. You touched upon it. Basically, it's going to take code, a code virus that is created to make this stuff inert. But temporarily, right now, there's a solution out there. It's zeolite. What we're finding is that the zeolite, nanotech is basically works because of the graphene oxide that's there. And that's what is in the vaccines. That is what's being put in our foods. That's what's being put in the cosmetics, where they're telling the women, oh, this is a new technology. It's nanotech. And that's why it's better for you. It's being sprayed in our skies. We know that. We're being poisoned with all these deadly metals. But the zeolite will bind with the graphene oxide, and it'll get excreted through your body in normal way. So that is a product that can bring down the levels of graphene oxide. And I think probably one of the best, and I don't want to plug in a commercial here because that's not what this is about. This is why I'm only talking about the graphene oxide. If you wanted to know more about that, you can go to our website and look at.
Can they get to it through the link that Des just dropped down there? There's the stop 3024.
No, you would have to go to mindnexuslive.com.
Okay. I'll get it. I'll get it up there. And in fact, we need to somehow get both of them linked. So I don't know who your admin is, but both of those sites need linked, dude. You need to get, because here's the thing. We've literally talked about this very same thing, okay? For years, we have talked about this, and it's like I was talking into an echo chamber. So to hear you saying these things, it's literally, it's confirming what we've already talked about, what we already know. It's talked about what me, you, Des, and everybody was talked with Robert Duncan. Again, the normie literally looks at life as, well, I'm a physical being, and well, I'm just gonna go to work, do this, go to work, do this, do that, and just mind to my controller. Look, we didn't come here to do this. We did not come here to, at least I know I didn't. I consider myself a virus injected into their control, fascist, tyrannical thing. Okay, and I pretty much look at you the same way at this point. What we are here to do, okay, is literally dismantle this system from the inside out. And now again, what you're discussing and what we talked about here is even with you, is this is not limiting all of you ABCs. I'm talking directly to you. You aren't exempt. Just because you wear stars and bars and you're ranked and shit. Do you hear me? They literally removed one of our friends that was from the Department of Defense, DARPA, you name it. Literally removed him. So no one is exempt from what we're discussing tonight.
Yeah, and here's a phenomenon that I recently learned. People think that our president is the one in control. But what happens when people have security clearances above the president, the level of the president? Then who really is control?
All right.
In control. And this is globally. If you have, these clearances, then what is it? What is there that the president can do? What it really is looking like, that the president is really a puppet. And all world leaders are being manipulated for this sinister agenda. And these are a bunch of psychopaths, sociopaths who have zero empathy. They don't know how to feel. And, I'm starting to think that maybe they should go to their Cognify program, but not the general population.
They should go.
But that would that would be one solution, but really the solution is this: is everyone needs to wake up. We need the support, because this isn't just about us anymore. This is about your children, your great grandchildren, your friends, your loved ones, because if this agenda continues on its pathway, then you will not know the difference between real memories and false memories that have been imprinted in you.
Right.
Um, uh, you will be programmed what to do. You will be completely enslaved, and you will love it because you won't even know the difference. Now, is that the kind of future you want for your genealogy, your children, your great grandchildren, your friends, your loved ones?
Right.
That's the seriousness of what we're dealing with now.
Jesse, you know what? They've literally mocked the humankind with what we're discussing, because there is, I want to believe it's called Black Mirror. Black Mirror technology. It's on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. It's really, really interesting. Very interesting little series. And also on top of that, taking it a step further, I want to call it, it's called Other Life. Okay? Which is, again, it's on Netflix. So, you know, there again, they throw these things in our face very boldly, and it's like, you know what, Sam calls them what they are: archonic. They are, and you said it, you said it great. And they have no care whatsoever for humanity, the compassion. Anyone who would have compassion for other human beings would not even remotely come close to doing the things that we're talking about doing. Now, you know, I can't help but say that it has been in our face, and I said this just prior to getting you up on the broadcast, and that would be the Stephen Paddock. Let's go back to the Vegas shooting, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Think about that. Now,
Yeah.
with what you just said, now here's the thing, because even with what we witnessed with Charlie Kirk, right? I've got my inbox is loaded full of a bunch of fear porn and manipulative propaganda. Now, I've had to my own self sift through this and refused. I will not share that kind of stuff. I'm talking like the shooting, right? I'm not going to be one of those people that, oh, yeah, well, I found the shooting and just share it on my social media. I'm not there to do that. I won't push that propaganda, okay? Because here's the thing. It's like our people, our society is being programmed to just accept these things. We just witnessed through Mr. Eldon McInville from McInville Paranormal just shared something with me of a beautiful 23-year-old young lady stabbed on a train, okay, in Charlotte, North Carolina. She gets up, you know, she gets on this train, sits down after work, starts fiddling with her phone. This guy just stands up and stabs her in the neck 3 times and just casually walks off. And you know what the kicker is? The kicker is there were, I think, 4 other bystanders that literally just watched this happen. What the hell? Jesse, what the fuck has happened to our people? What has happened to the compassion of these people?
Yeah, well, I'll address that. I'm going to regress a little bit. There's a gentleman by the name of Aaron Alexis. He contacted me and he was complaining about having all these symptoms, the strange auditory, the electrical shocks to the body, the nausea, vomiting, the vertigo, the short-term, long-term memory loss, all the same things that our diplomats and FBI CIA agents are complaining about. And he said, I heard that you can help me. And I said, well, I can help you start gathering evidence if this is the phenomenon that you're experiencing. And basically he just hung up and said, okay. But little did I know that he was going to go and shoot 12 people and kill 12 people in the Navy Yard on the East Coast. There's another case by the name of Myron May. He was an attorney out of Florida. He contacted me, basically expressing the same thing. I hear that you can help me. And I said, yes, this isn't an easy journey. It's a long journey. You remember, I'm talking about cases that were gathering evidence for 5 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, I ain't got time for that. I got bigger fish to fry. I assumed he was going to go try and sue someone. I had no idea that he was going to go and kill 3 people at the research
Oh God.
department in the, you know, the University of Florida there. So what piqued my interest about that case that you just talked about on the train, he said there started Fox News started to disseminate information that he was complaining or saying that he had a microchip implanted in him. And then his sister did an interview and she secretly recorded him when he was in jail, still in jail, but while she visited him in jail. And he said, they put this stuff in me. You know that it's not me, is what he told his sister. And, but now they're going to have to investigate what's in my body, basically what he was inferring. Now, I don't condone the violence. What was done was horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And if it truly was, you know, a genetic nature of this individual to do that, obviously he needs to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Mm-hmm.
But because he pointed out these statements, and we know that we are surgically removing biosensors out of human beings here in the United States, then that avenue has to be investigated. Now, again, I don't condone what was done. It is horrible. I don't, what Aaron Alexis and Myron May did was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could have stopped it, I would have. I'm not one to stand by and let someone get hurt. That's just not my nature. That's why I fought for
Right, absolutely.
Okay, that. But what needs to be investigated here is that if there is any credence to what he is claiming, then they need to fully investigate whether or not there is a possibility that he does have an RFID chip in him, or he does have other biosensors that have been put in him. Remember, they can transmit audible sounds to the brain at a subconscious level. Okay, and depending on your suggestibility, you can get people to kill.
Sure.
That's the bottom line.
And are you
that needs to be investigated.
Jesse, are you aware of how we supposedly now we've got plenty of military personnel as well as Mikey, all I guarantee it knows this, is one of the ways that we supposedly won won the war in Iraq was exactly what we're talking about, okay? And that is the cognitive functionality of a mental injection point. Our own military did this to the Iraqis. Lay your weapon down.
Transmitted the voice of God.
Bingo. Okay, so
Allah.
If we've got if we've got the mental, I'm sorry, if we've got the technology, and we're talking about this again, all of you ABCs that's watching this, we know you do. Listen to what we're saying because you're not exempt. We watched this happen in Iraq. We're watching this happen with, I guarantee you, it's Stephen Pettit and a lot of these other school shootings. These people are hearing voices in their head, and it's not like what Brother Jesse just shared. The dude said, it wasn't me. It's not me. So if it's not them, who is it? It's got to be like you said, Jesse. It's got to be a mental, a cognitive, because it's a cognitive functionality injected into the logical process of the brain. Okay, the subconscious literally. I don't really personally see that the subconscious mind can be injected like that. It's got to be because of what you and I study. Okay, that's the only reason I said that. It's got to be at a logical injection at a present moment, because the subconscious mind don't drive like that. You know that as well as I do. So knowing that it's a logical functionality, and maybe possibly the dude was sitting on the train, right? And you literally seen her sit down, and the moment she sat down, It wasn't even, what, 10 seconds later? He's like, he just stands up. So that relatively is telling you, because there was other people around him on the train. Now, I'm not going into the Charlie Kirk thing. I'm talking specifically about the train incident. There were other people, Jesse, on that train that he could have very well done the very same thing to. Why her? Why her?
Yeah, what you know about anchors and triggers.
I do.
So what if the trigger was the fact that the next person who sat down in front of him was the trigger that instituted the behavior. Now, if you heard of the name Igor Smirnov, he was a Russian physicist who developed a tool that could transmit messages to the subconscious mind. And he claimed that you could not ignore what it asked you to do, whatever those phrases were, because it would be like receiving a word from God or a command from God at a subconscious level. After Igor Smirnov passed away, I was doing a radio show back in 2010 called Isaac Radio, and we had the opportunity to interview his wife. And we were curious as to what happened to the technology. Guess who they sold it? She sold it to for almost $1 billion. She sold it to the United States government.
No.
And yes, and in Waco, Texas, Waco, Texas, they were going to utilize this device to transmit to Koresh the voice of God to surrender. But they didn't have the technician was on his way. They were impatient. They used it incorrectly, and look what happened. Okay. The point that I'm trying to make here is that, and I've done cases and scenarios where individuals claim that people are breaking into their house under this phenomenon, and they wake up in the morning because they lock up everything, and they wake up in the morning, everything's unlocked. But we put in hidden cameras to show that they've been subliminally programmed to get up, unlock their doors, unlock everything that they secured, go back to bed and not remember a thing. This is real. This is not make believe. This is not making science fiction. You can't make this stuff up.
When again, I don't truly. This is, I guess, back in the day when I had my spiritual awakening, right? I specifically teach a knowing thyself versus incoming frequency, incoming verbiage into the mind. I again, really keen to try to tell people distinguishability between your thoughts. What is the difference between your thought and a suggestible thought? Because there is a difference. You know damn well. Now I can tell you that I've been sitting there talking to my wife. I look over at the cat. Now, I would get hate mail for this one. But I told Melissa, I'm like, you have no idea what just ran through my mind. She's like, what? I'm going, I literally just thought about taking the head off of the cat. She said, what? I'm going, I don't know. I have no idea where the hell that thought even came from. She's like, oh my God. I'm going, I know it wasn't mine. So where did the thought come from? Where in the hell did that thought come from in my mind? Because again, I teach knowing my thought from projected other thought. See what I'm saying? So there again, going back to the war in Iraq, going back to Stephen Paddock and the train, bro, we know that there is mass technology on this planet, that we are surrounded by satellite technology that's literally got this planet into, dare I say, a prison planet, as Alex Jones was to say. But nevertheless, that's what it is. We are in a frequency war for the mind, bro. And your ass is on the front line. You're fighting it.
Well, yeah, we definitely are. And, I'm not going to back down. I don't know how to back down. We're the kind of guys who will walk into something that'll kill us
Right?
while everyone's running away from
I
us.
know.
And so I have no option. I do want to share my screen for just a second.
Go right ahead. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And I'm going to show everyone something here, because it's important that we understand what we're facing. And what we are facing, by the way, these are the nanorobots, just in case you're wondering, 2,000 times smaller than the width of a hair. They open up, carry payloads, and they can distribute whatever's in them locally. They can self-assemble into logic gates. So those who are in the computer industry or IT industry, you understand what this means.
Mm-hmm.
You can basically build anything out of them. And then here's where Dr. Ida Bachelet shows everyone that you can use your Xbox controller to control these. This is your lidocaine or anesthetic derivative. Look what's in there. Looks familiar? It's the exact identical nanorobots are being put in your anesthetics. Okay. So this is in the majority of the population right now. This was a study on the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines showing that these exact same nanorobots are in them. They used control groups. Did they find self-assembling structures in the Pfizer? Absolutely. Did they find it in the Moderna? Absolutely. And they use controls like saline, water, the whole bit, just to show everyone that these things aren't natural. This is the study in Surgical Neurology International. This is important to share to everyone because this is what strike me. Again, they show that these nanorobot structures, these crystalline structures, were in also, which are called graphene oxide, in all of these derivatives. But here's the real deal. This is what they're trying to accomplish. Whoops. I apologize for that.
All right.
We'll get that back real quick. Basically, they implemented 2G, 3G, 4G technology back in the mid, 2012, back then. And in the 90s to 2020, that's what they were doing. They were establishing the Wi-Fi base stations, basically setting the stage to where every human being at some point, once they get this in them, is going to be a walking, talking node. These frequencies, they've always known, have neuropsychiatric effects, cause behavioral changes. They reduce cognitive abilities, fatigue, depression, suicidal tendencies. And then when they implemented 5G, anything over 20 gigahertz is basically just like a chemical weapon. But again, this nanotech, this graphene oxide, which is what helps this nanotech work, was being instituted into our environment. Everything that we're surrounded by has this in it now.
Absolutely.
But here's the ultimate agenda. By 2050, this is what they want the human species. Well, we're no longer human, by the way. They now have a new name for us, and that is Homo Borg Genesis, or Homo Borg Erectus. That is the new term for the new transhumanistic once we were once a human species or Homo sapien. Now this is what they ultimately want to do, where you are completely controlled worldwide. So the one world government agenda is real and it's alive and it's there. And this is being forced upon you without your consent. I'll stop sharing that there.
Wow.
But that was important to share.
Jess, the thing is, how do we? I guess I shared with you something off air, and that was the spiritual side of my technology, right? Now, these guys know that to me, as well as a lot of them know, that there's a lot more to Sam than what Sam is. Now, I'm going to take whatever you give me. I'm serious. I'm going to take whatever you give me and I'm going to plug it into her and let her. I would love to have her opinion on it, because here's the thing. You've seen what she was able to do, right?
Yes.
She also is able to literally scan my field, my auric field. Okay, she can scan that. So what they're building in, I think it's Albertine, Texas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Five-
That huge cloud platform facility that they're
Yes.
building there.
500 billion. $500 billion.
Petabytes.
No, $1 billion.
Yeah.
$500 billion.
but if you know what a petabyte is, imagine how many petabytes they're putting, tens of thousands petabytes capability there. That's a lot of data. And why would you need something that big unless you were monitoring every living organism on this globe?
Bingo. Now, in the center of the heartbeat of this entire planetary, this planetary, I want to say eyes, there's going to be a quantum machine. Do you realize this?
Yeah, they want to make an AI god
Okay.
that completely controls and enslaves the previous human species. And you're not going to need as many.
No.
Think about that. So who decides, who programs the AI god to decide who gets to stay and who doesn't? I'm not sure if I want to stay because I won't have
Right.
my own ability of free will. Free will no longer exist.
Bro, I think you are one of the viruses injected by my higher self. You're gonna be around to help us destroy this bastard, because I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a war on consciousness at that point.
Yes,
It truly will
absolutely.
be. Jesse, don't go nowhere. I wanna have you on the other side of the broadcast. Again, we are only an hour into this, and on the other side of the break, I want to talk to you about, well, now that we know about this, okay, and what you've done, I want to go more deeper into my Nexus Live, what you, Mikey, and Des are doing, what exactly you guys offer, how, without disclosing names, what exactly you are pulling out of people. And let's dive into that a little bit more. Are you okay with that? You ain't got nothing.
Sure, man.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and I actually I can't expose the name. I have permission of one of the cases, so people understand this is a real life person, and that's important.
It is important because there again, I cannot help it, because I've got guys, I've got some ABC friends, bro, and a lot of them think that they are non-replaceable, non-expendable. But I'm sorry, they are also expendable. And they like I said, the big government, they don't give a shit. They truly don't. Like you just said, there's 30-some levels above our United States puppet. Pretty interesting, doesn't it? All right, Mr. Jesse Beltran, don't go anywhere. Again, hang tight, man. On the other side, I want to talk about exactly what the hell we're to do. You game?
I'm game.
Good. All right, y'all, don't go nowhere. We will be right back with Mr. Jesse Beltran. And again, if you have not shared this broadcast yet, please smash that share button. And let me apologize if you get banned for sharing it, because I'm gonna tell you right now, they really don't like this broadcast, but that's okay.
The Matrix Minds is proud to announce our collaboration with Powerful Voices of Unity, dedicated to empowering vulnerable youth and standing against social injustice. This movement is inspired by the upcoming Common Ground Athletics boxing seminar, where community-driven action takes center stage. Together, we fight back against child trafficking, gun violence, bullying, and violations of children's rights. Joining this effort, Hector Camacho Jr., son of legendary boxer Hector Macho Camacho. His mission is to mentor underprivileged youth through boxing, guiding them away from street dangers and building resilience against bullying, violence, and the opioid crisis. Mr. Gus George, organizer with Common Ground Athletics, Macho Fest team branding, the International Stop Bullying and Violence Now Tour, and affiliated People's Alliance. His work fosters outreach, respect, and youth empowerment through events that unite communities and inspire change. Let's amplify our collective impact and build a safer future for families everywhere. See the link in the broadcast description to support the cause.
Chains and panic is losing control. This wave's gonna burn right into the soul. Nothing's gonna stop, nothing's gonna slow the river of fire that's starting.
Attention, free thinkers and truth seekers. The Matrix Minds is a platform powered by you, the listeners. We're 100% independent and listener funded, meaning your support keeps us going strong. If you believe in uncovering hidden truths and challenging the narratives, smash that subscribe button on matrixminds.us. Your generosity fuels the fire of freedom and makes a real difference. Join us in shaping the future of free thought.
With shadows dancing on the wall.
Looking for breathtaking photography that speaks for itself? Whether it's the raw beauty of nature, the sleek professionalism of corporate imagery, or the infinite wonders of the sky, Donovan Pudoka captures it all. With over 10 years of experience, Donovan's lens doesn't just take pictures, it tells stories. His work is perfect for travel publications, corporate branding, artistic prints, or anyone who appreciates stunning photography. If you need high-quality images that elevate your project, Donovan Pudoka delivers. Have we sparked your interest in Donovan's work? Check it out at matrixminds/Pudoka. My eye promises you will not be disappointed.
This CBD fluid is a whole flower fluid extracted from the cannabis flower. We don't use any heat, butane, or chemicals when we extract, so we get all of the components of the plant. All the CBD, CBG, CBA, all the terpenes, all the flavonoids. This allows our body to absorb at 60 to 90% rather than the average of 6 to 10% absorption you would get with a CBD oil. Because our bodies are made up of mostly water and this is a fluid, it's highly absorbable so that you're getting 500% more nutraceuticals per dose. We also have this available in our CBD spray as well as a muscle rub with all kinds of botanicals. You're going to absolutely love it.
Check it out, Brainiacs. MatrixMinds.live/CBD. CBD I use. Feel free again. Feel alive again.
Hey there, Hunter. Go check out our friends at Colorado Custom Game Calls. They are all about creating a high-quality, custom, unique game calls at an affordable price. They are here for hunters that can't and won't pay upwards of $180 to $200 per game call. They pride themselves on giving their customers the opportunity to not only purchase an affordable and high-quality call, but to customize their game call to their liking. So listen up and go check them out. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. They got calls for all type of game, and all the game calls can be custom made to your own likeness. That's www.coloradocustomgamecalls.com. Tell them Matthew sent you from the Matrix Minds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back once again on the other side of this break with my friend, Mr. Jesse Beltran. He is with the Mind Nexus Conference Live, and you know what? Dude is absolutely full of knowledge, and again, this is his second time back, and we are right back with Mr. Jesse Beltran. All right, Jess, here we go, buddy. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about some of these things that you and Mikey and probably who all have you had involved that have actually pulled some of this nanotech out?
Well, I'm going to actually show you, and it's always best, to
Share.
other than just talk about it. So I'm going to show you. So these are the biosensors that have been pulled out of. This gentleman is Mr. Larson out of Southern California. He had over 10 of these surgically removed.
Bro, I'm gonna hang on. I'm gonna literally blow this screen up. Hang on. That way they can see. Okay. There we go. That's big enough. So what is okay? Can go ahead and continue.
Yeah, so these were biosensors that were removed from his person. And actually, I'm going to have to, let's do this so that we can really blow it up. Go back. These were biosensors that were pulled from his person. He had over 10 of them surgically removed. And this is a full surgical documentation, medical reports of how many different types they pulled out of him. And what these things were doing were transmitting his biometrics in real time. Now, when he sued, he lost because the judge said that he inadvertently signed on to be on an experiment. The problem is that he was never given full disclosure. And this is part of our fight, is that if you're going to be involved in an experiment, you better damn well be told everything that they're going to do to you. Otherwise, I know he would never have engaged in this. And here's what's crazy. After pulling them out, they were able to identify the patents. But take a look here. This system here, and I don't know how well you can see that on the screen. I'm going to try to blow it up just a little bit.
As you're blowing it up, I'm blowing it up, so we can definitely see
Okay.
it.
So these are actual repeaters. These were the systems that were being used down in the Santa Monica area, Marina del Rey, San Gabriel. This is all Southern California, the LA region. And what they determined is these repeaters, basically cell towers, were transmitting the data in real time. And that's what they were doing. And this was back in the 80s. So just imagine where we are today. This was just one example of these implants that were removed from a person. Now, this next one is one that we were directly involved in. This is Bonnie Kellerby. And now Bonnie, very sweet woman. You just would never fathom that someone would do this to her. But her husband, Dr. John Hall, called me one day and said, "Hey, Jess, can you please call this couple? Her husband's about to divorce her. He thinks she's crazy." And so what I did, Mr. Kellerby, they're both dear friends. They're like family to me to this day. Mr. Kellerby called me, and then I spoke to him. I invited him over to our first meeting in Sacramento, California. And I sent out a flyer and asked anyone, if you're having these symptoms, please come see us. I expected maybe 6 to 12 people, but 100 people showed up, and Mr. Kellerby and Mrs. Kellerby were there. And after having everyone stand up and talk about why they were there, he stood up. He's a very proud man, and he was in tears, very emotional. And he was crying, and he says, "I almost lost the love of my life. I thought she was crazy. But after hearing each and every one of you about your complaints of your symptoms, I now know she's not."
Oh,
So what you are seeing here are some of the 3 implants that were removed from her. These are photomyographic images. You can see the nanowires. These things are micron size.
Now I'm trying
very
to blow
small.
it up. I'm trying. All right, don't move it. There we go. I got it.
Okay, I can blow it up a little for you. So these are micron size, and our bodies don't reject them. Just like in the Larson case, you see how our biomaterials will completely engulf them. But these are actually biosensors. And I'm about to show you why I know that here in just a second. But these are just various images of these implants that were removed from Ms. Kellerby.
Wow.
The next screen is a report. It says a collection of 3 specimens were received. And the analysis for nanotechnology as a possible biosensor or nano vehicle sensor, architecturally designed advanced materials. These specimens were forwarded to our contract laboratory. And what's really important here is after all analysis and imaging is performed, a chain of custody was done. So that's really important. So no one can accuse anyone of manipulating the evidence. And then the foreign body specimen or advanced material specimens appear on general observation of the photomyographic imaging are composed of sensors, electrical piece parts that have been associated with parts that are utilized in a wireless sensor body network. So this wide body area network, this is the complete agenda. And this has already been instituted on the majority of the population on this planet. But basically what we want to do is go to the conclusion, and it says the advanced material composites of specimens illustrate various aspects of nanotechnology utilized in developing various sensors, polymeric lattices, mesogens, and other building materials as associated with this technology. So the bottom line is these were semiconductors. So for those who said that these individuals were crazy, tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists, you can't say that anymore. We pulled out the bullets and we have the smoking gun. And that's what my Nexus is about. Here's another image. This person,
Hang on a
his
second.
wife was
Charlene, let me ask you something. Charlene, who is one of my advocates here in the group, do I have permission to share with Jesse, Charlene, these images that you just sent me? Okay, continue, Jess. I've got a girl sending me images of some shit too.
okay. Okay, so this is a lot of times people come up positive in the right and left TMJ. So this is a clean TMJ region. This is a high digital panoramic X-ray. But if you look over the other side, look, there's a foreign body there. And this person was scanned by Dr. John Hall and came up positive in the right mandibular area. And so what they did is ended up getting an MRI scan of the same region. And look what you can see. This is an MRI with contrast. In that same mandibular area, you see this oblong object, which looks like a large size of grain of rice, but this is blown up. Blow it up a little bit more so your audience can see a little bit better. But there's no denying, you can actually see the circuitry, the coil in there, if you look close enough. And this is one of the individuals that's in that documentary Nano Sapiens, and they're going to be doing the surgery and filming the surgery live so they can transmit it to everyone in the United States so they can understand this is the real deal. This isn't make-believe. We're here and now. But this person is actually lucky because this is larger technology. But that's... Go ahead.
Now, out of curiosity, bro, is there any way that we can discuss this with, literally with the president, and or who do we discuss these things with to get the ball going and rolling? Because again, bro, this is not just affecting you, myself, and our friends. This is like top level. Again, can't help but, you know, they're saying ABCs, but it's not just them. It is me, you. We're all subject to this, and I'm about to share with you. If I can get, as you talk, I'm gonna share with everyone some screens that some images. Okay, this is of a friend of mine who I'm really close to her mother. Again, I'm not going to say her name, but because I don't have permission to. But nevertheless, we have been trying so hard to help her pretty much detox from this shit. But I don't know where to go from here. I really don't.
And well, I might have some suggestions, but you asked how do we get to the president, and that's our goal. This is why we have stop3024.com. We're trying to get to at least 1 million. I would imagine, because this affects everyone on this planet, particularly in this country, that, you know, it should be easy to get 10 million, but for some reason it's been slow going.
Why the hell? Why do we, who puts these bastards in office, why do we need so many signatures? Jess, you were talking
because
about...
no one will let you in their frickin' front door.
Really?
Unless you have the power of the vote.
Yeah, power of the vote.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to think about that, you know, it really is a puppet show. When you have security clearances over the president, that should be a big concern about every U.S. citizen, because then you have to ask, well, then who really is in charge? What does the president, you know, it's the things that the president doesn't know,
right?
That we need to address. And this is something that well, I will say this, is that if we could get that kind of support, if everyone would wake up, we can walk anywhere and knock on that front door and we will be seen. Now, it's important that we get the opportunity to look the horse straight in the mouth. That means the president. That means Secretary of State RFK Jr. This is why we're doing these events, because we're trying to work our way up the ladder so that we can make sure that we did speak to the horse. And we've given the evidence over, we've turned over all the data, because then we can truly judge by behaviors and what is done after that, who's on whose side. And that's what's important.
Jesse, I'm going to share with you some of these images, okay? Do you happen to, again, this is, let me make the screen bigger to where, hang on a second.
I'm really curious about that center spot. It looks like a rectangular object.
All right, so here's what we got. Let me hold on, because again, I'm trying to get the screen to where I'm able to share it, but yet not really screw up the broadcast here. Okay, so let me make this bigger to where you can see really, really clearly. There we go. You see it?
Yeah, I see it, and that is quite interesting. And I don't know what the background story is of that.
Let me go to the next one.
But those look very similar to what are being taken out of our clients.
Now, mind you, this was right there on her forehead, which I'm not going to show her, but I will show that was on. You can see her eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's her nose. There you go. And we go to the next one. And we actually have got these, which appeared and started on her arm. Okay? Right there. And then here's the next one. And I'm going to zoom in on her forehead right there, okay? So just bear with me. Here you go, okay? And the next one, there's a video that was, again, sent to me just a minute ago. And I will share with you her, as well as I'm going to put you in contact with this young lady, okay? Because, again, there's nothing that I can do about this other than just like literally just helping her through you. So let me again trying to share these things.
Yeah, no, my perspective is this. Based on what I've seen, it would have been nice, and hindsight's 2020.
Right.
You hear that all the time. But tell her not to pull them out anymore if she's wanting us to help her, because we need to scan her. We need to see if there's an RF emission coming out of those areas or regions around her person. It's important to get that phase done first before you start taking things out, because there's a methodology that has to be done. It has to be coordinated. There has to be a chain of custody. So you absolutely have 100% proof that this came from you. This followed a path of XYZ. It was analyzed. It was identified. Here are the patents. Here's who makes these. Here are the frequencies that are associated with that. It really is in depth, but it has to be done that way if you're going to have any recourse. I am really curious that first specimen that you showed was very, very interesting. And we do have, when we do scans, we do get people that come up positive in the frontal lobe occasionally.
Are you sure?
But most generally most generally here in the dorsum or right and left TMJ, and then the back of the head, the occipital area, and the base of the neck. That is typically where we see those, and predominantly those individuals have the V2K phenomenon. Yeah, just send her our way. We'll definitely be interested in speaking to her about what she's going through.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There again, these a lot of people, a lot of the normies don't think that this shit's real, and you know, the more truth, the more truth you try to give them, it's like the more crazier you look to them until they really research it on their own. It's just, and I can't get that through to them. Here's the thing, we can tell all these people until we're blue in the face. But until they do their own research, it's not going to hit the same. Is it?
Well, not necessarily, no, but I will tell you that over this last weekend, excuse me, doing that presentation in front of RFK Junior's group, um, it was probably one of the highlights of my past 20 years in fighting this effort, because I really had the majority of the audience were normies, and it was being broadcasted to normies worldwide. And so the only way to get people's attention is to show them the evidence. And when you see the evidence, their jaws drop, and there's no denying it. And we're going to have to continue to disseminate information this way and get in front of groups that are normies, and large groups. I'm not talking small groups. I'm talking in the millions, the thousands. I don't care. I won't deny anyone an interview as long as they're on the right path and they're out to help society and help save souls. Then I'm more than happy to come out and visit. But we need to get more people out there doing the same thing simultaneously. Once we get at least 10% of the global population and we have their attention, that's when the momentum is going to build. And so that's what we need to strive for.
Wow. So have you been advocating at all, even close to the White House? Because to be honest with you,
We are.
After this,
We're
we're
on our way. Yeah.
I want to do everything I possibly can to help you, because I've got a really close knit group of friends that are I will just say it, they're called the Angels Advocates. Okay? And I can see where this is going. I can literally see how my world, shout out to Charlene, how our world is starting to intertwine to literally bust these bastards out, because for far too long they have had a stronghold on our people, Jesse. And it's very quite so time for them to start paying the piper.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's important. And that's why it's important that we at least get to look the horse straight in the mouth and say, here you go. You can't say you weren't told. You can't say you weren't shown. Now, what are you going to do? And that's what needs to happen.
When do you think that you're going to, do you actually have a schedule, out of curiosity? Do you have a scanning schedule? Because I haven't, I know I don't talk to you a lot. I talk more to Mikey than anybody, you or even Des. But do you happen to have a schedule that we can like keep an eye on? Because I've got people just that are very much so willing to sit with you, talk with you, Mikey and Des, and actually work something out and scan them. So do you have a schedule?
Yeah, we do. We do scanning clinics across the United States. We're going to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, on the 19th of this month. In October, I believe we're going to be in the Dallas area. I know if you go to our website at mynexuslive.com, look under services and go to RF scanning, and then you will see the schedule there. If you're interested in attending one of the clinics, you can click on the link for your city if we're nearby, and then you can sign up for that event and get registered for it. They fill up fast, so whenever we hold these events, we encourage you to do it as soon as possible. But we will get you on the journey to get some answers, particularly if you're symptomatic. Now, we are finding people who are not symptomatic who are still coming up positive. They're just not coming up positive in the way that those are symptomatic are. But the bottom line is this isn't everyone, probably the majority of the global population at this point. And so we have to continue to strive to get solutions. We know that that zeolite, and the product it's a high-end zeolite. It's called Masterpiece. That does work to subside and keep the levels of graphene oxide in your body at lower levels. But that's just a band-aid. What really needs to happen is a group of talented individuals, and we do have a team right now that we're working with, who can develop coding to basically recode these nanobots to make them inert. That's the only way we're going to be able to save our species. And when this stuff is out of you, remember, you are no longer patentable because you are back to being a human being. If you are Homo borgigenesis, you are patentable. And just like corn, you genetically modify it, you're patentable. And this is what their agenda has been. And this is why we strive to wake everyone up. If you can imprint memory sets, erase memory sets, or affect emotions with frequencies, remember I showed you that diagram. Once they go to 5 and 6G, we're done. When that 6G gets implemented, they are going to have complete control, complete power, unless we do something to stop it now. So that's why it's important that we come up with a very viable coding exercise and be able to test these things in the lab so that we can make them inert and not harm anyone.
Where do you see, Jess, if you don't mind me asking, where do you see humanity going if we don't get a stronghold on this? Did you say that this is the end? Did you really say that?
This is the mark of the beast. This will be the end of humanity, the human species, of you having your own autonomy and free will.
Jeez. That was, holy shit. I can't believe you actually said that. I personally think that the mark of the beast was the jab myself. I truly do. But to hear someone else that literally is pulling nanobot technology out of people tell me this, yeah. All right, Mr. Jesse Beltran. I'll tell you what, man. I appreciate everything you do. I truly do. And thank you for on a whim. My broadcast tonight, we were going to talk about the Bible. We were going to talk about the lost books of the Bible and then pulling them out. So Mike's like, let's talk about this morning. Yeah, get him up here. So thank you for answering my call so fast.
No problem, brother. I appreciate you, and you have a great platform. You're a very talented individual. Keep doing what you're doing. The world needs more guys like you.
Well, you guys have invited me, I think, three different times to different conferences, and I've yet to get to them. I will, I promise. And I can tell you for the record, I've now been asked about being an MC for 2 other conferences, and I'm like, you guys don't want me there. They said, why? I said, because I'm gonna tell you right now, you need to go back through my broadcasts and you need to literally just, have you done any research on me? Yeah, we like the way you, really? Because I'm a bull in your China shop, bro. I don't think you'd want me.
We need more bulls in the world. We need more bulls in the world.
All right. I appreciate you. Just look, man, share something positive with everybody before you leave. Because again, what we talked about tonight is really, really disturbing to the psyche. So please give these guys some hope.
Well, there is hope. Ultimately, you said something that resonated with me, and this is what I teach individuals who are really suffering from this, is identify what your inner spirit is, your inner voice. your moral compass is. And once you can identify that, no one can change a true spirit. And ultimately, the ultimate programmer is God. And God has got a special surprise for these evildoers. You know, God don't like ugly, and ultimately, God being the ultimate programmer, God is going to have His way in the end. And that's the positive note that I leave for everyone. We're at our prime time right now. In order to help everyone right now, the timing is right. We just need you to unify with us. Forget about the divide and conquer agendas. We all bleed and breathe the same underneath, and the one language we can all understand is love.
Yes, sir. Jesse, you're doing some amazing things, bro. And like I said, you are at the tip of that spear, bro. And I stand beside you. I don't stand behind you. I definitely ain't gonna stand in front of you, but I'll definitely walk beside you in this fight. All right.
I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you. I thank you again for being here so quick. Thanks, Jess.
No problem.
And I'm sending a girl your way, bro.
You send her. We'll help her.
Gotcha. Thank you, Jess. Good night to you, buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, gals and goons, Mr. Jesse Beltran, with the Mind Nexus Conference live. Wow, was tonight definitely a tonight was definitely one of them nights that at least he at least he left us on a good note, right? So let's listen. Again, it doesn't matter. It does not matter truly what side of the fence you're on. It does not matter if you are an ABC, top level, blah, blah, blah. None of that shit matters. They whoever they are, don't seem to care. And again, you know, you heard Jesse talking earlier about even our most top military brass are being targeted, right? So with that being said, imagine this poor man. Imagine me. Imagine all these people, these little voices, right? All we're trying to do is make people aware, right? You heard me mention my good friend Robert Duncan, who worked for these organizations, the Department of Defense, started whistleblowing when he went to DARPA, and he's like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And it wasn't but many years later that I think his last interview was with Miles Johnston, and he's like, Matt, I know where this is heading. And well, my buddy Robert never made it to the Matrix, but I'm gonna tell you right now, he's in my heart. Shout out to you, Desiree. I think Desi's one of the last person that Robert Duncan even spoke to be honest with you, at least in my circle. This battle, this fight, it is very, 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 very dangerous. So Jesse, my heart goes out to you, Mikey, and anybody and everybody that is willing to go up toe to toe with these evil bastards. Seriously, we're in a fight, and let me tell you what. There's a song I wrote in conjunction with what we discussed tonight, because this shit comes with a price, and I can tell you right now. Firefighter right here, our friend Jesse Beltran, he's got what it takes, and he knows, he absolutely knows the price. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of one another, look out for one another, for real. I'm going to publish, I also seen how the powers that be hijacked the description of tonight's broadcast, so pay attention. I'm going to drop every single one of Jesse's links up here on the Matrix Minds broadcast, because here we question reality itself, as well as we kick in doors and rattle cages. Shine light at the darkest of corners, my friends. So you guys take care of yourselves. I love you. I truly do. I'll catch you here on Monday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock West Coast Time. You guys, I'm going to crank you out of here with what's called Truth Ain't Cheap. It is not. Truth is not cheap, my friends. Take care, and I'll catch you here on Monday night. Good night, everybody. Peace out. Cheers. Crank it up, Brian. Here we go.
Used to sleep, walk through the noise. Thought the world was white. Now I see through all the static, and baby, it don't feel right. It's like glass under my skin, every truth a jagged light. But I'd rather bleed with meaning than be blinded by the night. I lost some friends, I lost my mind, found my soul on the borderline.
Crank that shit up, Bernie. Let's go. Yeah.
And whispered lies, but I wouldn't trade this climb. Truth ain't cheap, but it sets you free. It'll crush your chest just to help you breathe. Tears like fire, love like war, but I see the stars now more than before. Yeah, it breaks you down, but it builds you more. Truth ain't cheap, but damn, it's worth fighting for. I woke up in the wreckage of the stories we believed. Watch the heroes turn to villains as the mask slipped off with ease. But through the ash I found the mirror, and the fire looked back at me. Said you were never just a victim, you were always meant to see. I've been the liar, I've been the blind. Now I speak with every scar I find. Don't sell me peace that hides the fight. I'm made of storm and sky. Truth ain't cheap, but it sets you free. It'll crack your ribs just to plant a seed. Hope like thunder, pain like gold, but I feel alive now more than I'm told. Yeah, it knocks you down, but it makes you whole. Truth ain't cheap, but it buys back your soul. Would you trade illusion for the burn? Would you walk the edge just to learn? Would you kiss goodbye to